How long should it take to learn an intermediate piece? This question came up from a couple subscribers here. So first, let's identify what intermediate means, because the answer to our question is going to shift a little bit. So early intermediate, that's going to be repertoire that you'd find in RCM levels 5 and 6. Selections like Bach's Little Prelude in C, BWV 939. Or the first movement of Clementi's Sonatina, Opus 36, number 2. Or William Gillick's Legend from his Lyric Preludes, and I've done an entire masterclass on that piece. These pieces are all going to be quite short, both in number of measures as well as in minutes of performance time. So a student that's achieved proficiency at about level 5 should be able to learn, perfect, and play these selections musically within 3 to 4 months. Some students may go a little bit faster, and some might need closer to 6 months, but our repertoire and our skill level is going to be mismatched if these pieces only take something like 2 weeks to perfect. Then they're far too easy for us. Or if they're taking something like 9 to 12 months, then they are far too difficult. Now, as we move into late intermediate repertoire, the same general rules apply, but as music becomes more advanced, even if our skill level is progressing with the repertoire, it's always going to continue to take more time. So late intermediate, that's going to be RCM levels 7 and 8. So level 8 RCM includes repertoire like Mozart's C major Sonata K545. Mendelssohn's Song Without Words, Opus 38, number 4. Burgmüller's The Storm from Opus 109. Each of these selections is significantly more challenging than level 5. I regularly hear from students that they seem to pretty easily progress from the beginning of their studies through like RCM levels 6 or so. So we'll call that early, mid, intermediate. And then each level beyond that gets considerably more difficult than the previous. So for someone late intermediate and playing some of the repertoire I just mentioned, a polished and a level appropriate performance is probably going to need somewhere in the realm of 6 to 8 months, maybe even 9 or 10 months. So now in this case, we're going to have a mismatch of skill level versus repertoire. If we're able to perfect that sort of repertoire in just 1 or 2 months, then it's too easy for us. But pushing 12 months for one piece, that's a little long, but not unheard of at this level. And I'd say that if it's taking 14 to 16 months to learn the notes, maybe memorize the piece, play it musically, play it artistically, then it is too difficult for us. And hopefully we're going to find out that information far sooner than after we've spent 14 or 16 months on the piece. I should say that I'm assuming an efficiently used 1 hour to 2 hours of practice per day for 6 days a week in assigning these times. So if you feel like you're not using your practice time nearly as well as you could, check out my course, Mastering Your Practice. I'm going to show you in that course practice tools to double or better how you spend your practice time. There's a link to that down below in the description and in the first comment. All right, let's sum up with a couple rules. First, as music gets more advanced, expect to need more and more time just to learn a single piece. Secondly, early intermediate music should take on average 3 to 4 months, and you should be able to learn more than one piece of repertoire during that time. Late intermediate music should take 6 to 8 months. So notice the increase in time. And again, you should be able to learn multiple pieces of repertoire in that time. And for our third and our final rule, if your selections are taking less time than what we just mentioned, you can still use that repertoire to work on musicality and interpretation and artistry, right? If it's easier than that, it's usually technically easier for us, which means we're going to learn the notes and the rhythms. We're going to learn the execution of everything that goes into playing that piece. We're going to learn it much faster, and we'll be able to jump to interpretation much more quickly. And on the flip side, if your selections are taking longer than what we mentioned, that's not always a bad thing, as long as we only have one stretch piece, just one. Okay, a great challenge can push us to new heights, and it can push us there faster, but it's going to take longer than typical to achieve that good level of proficiency. I'm Charles Szczepanek. You've been watching Pianist Academy, where we make elite piano simple and attainable. Now, if you're one of those people that's finding it difficult to learn new repertoire in the amounts of time that we just talked about, part of the reason that might be happening is that your technique is lagging a bit behind your other development. So if you think that's the case, I've got a great video for you to check out right over here. I'll see you next time.